So I ghosted social media for a week and I loved it. I'm going to share with you today some of the takeaways I got from my time off. Um, Greetings. Happy Friday to you. Hoping that you had a wonderful holiday break if you're in the United States or wherever you were. Um, I took a probably it was a little longer than a week off, and even before that break, I have been much quieter than usual on social media, and that's partially personal. I had a major transitional event happen in November that kind of just forced me offline. I just didn't have the bandwidth to kind of do my usual things online as well as deal with what I was dealing with offline. But even after that, I or during that time, during November, I've been really giving a lot of thought to how to up-level my communication and how I show up and also the value that I deliver. So it's something that any leader is always, evaluating, um, and maybe on a regular basis, or it may also be when you have a transition in your life. And I definitely had a transition where I started to evaluate even more than just my personal life, or my personal relationships, but kind of everything. Because as you know, or hopefully our work life and our personal life are connected. They're not separate. So it's really important when you're making any kind of major shift that you look at everything and not just the one area that you think it might be. Because sometimes you may think, okay, this is a problem with my child. It's just with my child and their school, but it might end up having a very serious connection to maybe your marriage or maybe your relationship with another friend or maybe your business and how you're running it. Like these things are all connected. So it's always a good thing. And hopefully that's something you can take away from this today when you're having a challenge or a major transition in one area of your life, use that opportunity to look at all of it. Don't just look at it in isolation. That's something that we learn in science. We isolate a particle or drop of something and we study it under a microscope, and that's all cool for analysis. And there is a place for analysis always. But life is not that isolated and neat and you know um, compartmentalized. Life is messy. Life has flow. Life is dynamic. Things are consistently changing, and things are connected. So as they're changing, one thing is changing, other things are changing as well. And sometimes you'll be amazed. I can't even tell you how many times I've been working with a client on their marriage and helping them to build a stronger marriage, and lo and behold, they get way more efficient in their business. They delegate more, their employees are happier, they form new partnerships, they expand their business into new territories. And it all came because of something that they did with their relationship. It freed some area of them up, which is a huge part of what my core message is about, which is about the fact that there's really no such thing as work-life balance, because it's really more every part of your life and your work is already kind of connected. So it's more about understanding it instead of thinking that they're two separate things that need to be balanced. Is to kind of understand that it's more about releasing flow inside of yourself and not feeling so constricted in some area. So anyway, back to my story of my hiatus from social media. And I found um, so much coming up and bubbling up in terms of new ideas and creativity. And I realized that how I have been presenting myself online hasn't actually been completely true to um, my mission. So, what I mean by this is everything has been authentic and real. There's nothing that's been phony or fake or fabricated in any way. However, um, I'm a connector. So my content is influenced by feedback, and feedback, it's a feedback loop, right? Like I take into consideration what people tell me, and then that kind of influences what I share. Even this live was originally designed as a Q&A, and really it was about answering questions that I received, whether it was from clients or from people who were following my content. And so what I came to understand, though, was that there was a different direction that my work is taking, and it's really got its own life. And I tell this to my clients all the time, maybe something that you can think about. your business is like a child. You know, when you bring it to birth, you don't know what it's going to end up doing exactly, or looking like exactly, or being about exactly. You have an idea, you have maybe a strong inclination and intention, but that business will have its own life. That work that you do, whether even if it's not a business, maybe it's a movement that you lead, or it's a community that you guide. Like, it's going to have its own life, and there's some parts of it that you can influence, but you don't have complete control over it. It takes on its own journey. And so, what I've come to understand about my work is it's been growing. I don't know, how long you've known me, but I started out in the mentorship space. I started out specifically, well, originally I started out in ministry. It was more of a religious or spiritual mentorship. But in my business, I started out in relationships, in intimate relationships, specifically those where there were really toxic patterns. People were on the brink of divorce, and I really help them to revive and heal their relationships. And I only worked with one individual. I didn't work with a couple. Over time, it really started to become clear that it was really more about leadership, and it was more about how people show up for personal leadership, and also how they show up to lead others, whether it's their family members or people in the community, or even in their businesses. And now I'm seeing that it's still really about leadership, but it's taken on a really clear identity with that of oneness, and really understanding how we are all one. And what really makes my work distinct, I'm not a leadership expert in the sense of, like, I haven't gotten a master's or a PhD in leadership development. I'm not some sort of like corporate certified, leadership guide or anything like that. Where my expertise comes is in the unique path that I traveled to basically discard all of the external expectations that were placed upon me, whether they were directly placed upon me by others, or whether I placed them upon myself by what I thought that others expected of me. Either way, they were like weights, they were like heavy burdens on my shoulders that were really impeding my ability to move forward and to truly self-express. And so the journey of my life has been to let go of a lot of those burdens and start to really develop into a person who looks very different from how I was trained, whether it was my training as a minister or my training as an engineer. And so, what I've come to understand is that this work really wants to be focused around the concept of the law of oneness, that principle, and how we can lead ourselves and our companies from an understanding that we are all connected. It changes the game in every aspect. It changes everything. It changes how we write contracts or agreements. It changes how we approach monetary transactions. It changes how we show up for our teams. It changes how we show up for ourselves in so many ways. And so, over the past year, I've started to really understand how it's even shifted my messaging, and how it's shifted the way that I want to present things. And so, what I've decided to do after taking this week off and really enjoying a break from the and I enjoy putting out content, and I'm going to put quite a bit more out. But I really enjoy taking a break from staying in one lane. This is the disruptor in me. This is the maverick in me. I really like to expand and try different things and go in different directions. And I realize that, yes, I do have one underlying current and theme to my work. However, I was making it a little bit too social media friendly. I've still been trying to play the game by someone else's rules. And so this is like my next level of evolution and growth, to understand that even when it comes to my content production, that it really needs to still be breathing from that place, from that understanding that this is my life's work, this idea of oneness. which I've had since I was a little tiny little girl, and just couldn't understand why people put all these filters up and, boundaries and protecting each other from them, protecting themselves from each other. I never understood it. I never got it. And so this has been a theme that's gone through my life. And this is what I bring to the leadership discussion. It's not more models and systems and rules. It's really like an understanding of this principle. And so what I decided to do is, instead of trying to like change everything about my messaging and just kind of make everything really kind of, to me, it felt just kind of messy. And it felt like, as I was making a personal transition in my life, I could also make a business transition and actually start a brand new brand. Still the same key elements about disruption, oneness, radical self-acceptance, and zero judgment. These are still key themes that are absolutely the foundation of the work that I do. But I wanted to show up differently in my digital presence. I wanted to show up differently in the way that I present these concepts. And so what I've decided to do is to actually just create a new website, social media account, profile, and really come from a place of clarity in this and simplicity in this message. So this is what I decided to do. So I'm not going anywhere, but I'm going somewhere. This is a new beginning. I saw Memory a couple of days ago and I wanted to post it and I didn't, but it was really cool because it basically was from a couple of years ago, where I found this fortune cookie, which basically was saying, like, sometimes you gotta close that door to open a new door that's going to take you to something that's even better for you, right? So if you want to stay connected with me, if you want to stay receiving my messages and everything, just let me know. This particular profile will gradually be weaned off over the coming weeks, and I will be kind of spending most of my energy and time on that new digital front. So I hope this is good. I will come on again live next week and probably share a little bit more. But for today, I just wanted to say that this was something that I took from taking a break from social media. So maybe there's something that you do that you're consistent in doing, but it's not necessarily bringing you the oomph and the joy and the inspiration continuously that you want. I am a high proponent and encourager for you to take moments and pauses to reevaluate. And it's important to be consistent, but it's important to be consistently high quality. And if you're not being consistently high quality, I don't know that the consistency and frequency is really helping you that much. So would love to see your thoughts in the comments if you have any on that. And if you would like to stay connected with me, please let me know in the comments. That way I can send you my new information once it's up and running. All right, much love. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.